Welcome to the Season 5 of the India Energy Hour podcast. This podcast explores the most pressing hurdles and promising opportunities of India's energy transition through an in-depth discussion on policies, financial markets, social movements, and science. Your hosts for this episode are Shreya J., Delhi-based energy and climate journalist, and Dr. Sandeep Pai, Washington-based energy transition researcher and author. The show is produced by 101 Reporters, a pan-India network of grassroots reporters that produces original stories from rural India. If you like our podcast, please rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the platform where you listen to our podcast. Your support will help us reach a larger audience. State-owned enterprises, SoEs, in the oil and gas sector play a critical role in ensuring energy security for the country. They are among the most diversified entities, spanning the entire oil and gas value chain, from upstream to downstream operations. But as India moves toward its net zero goals, the question arises, can oil and gas SoEs diversify into clean energy sectors? What challenges must they overcome to adapt? And how can they improve carbon management in a net zero India? To explore the evolving role of oil and gas, SoEs, in India's energy transition, we spoke with Mr. Deepak Tandon, Executive Director of the Carbon Management and Sustainability Group at ONGC Ltd. With over 4 decades of experience in Indian SoEs, Mr. Tandon shares invaluable insights into how SoEs future in a net zero India.
Mr. Tandon, it's really a pleasure to have you on the podcast. We have interacted on various occasions, but I wanted to sit down with you and kind of understand the role that PSUs can play in India's energy transition. But before we get into the topic itself, let's start with you. You have had a long career. You've been working with the PSU for a long time. So why don't we start from our standard question in this podcast, which is, where are you from? What did you study? How did you get into a PSU? How have been your journey? And that we would love to start with that.
So basically, I am born and brought up in Delhi. Okay. So let me tell you, I am the product of this, you can say, the government subsidized education. So I studied in government aided school. So my fees was not much, just 3 rupees, and it was all government funded. So I am fortunate that by that whatever money government of India spent, I am able to return it back in one way or the other. So then I did my undergraduation from Hansraj College of Delhi University. Then I did my MSc with the specialization in organic chemistry from again the Delhi University, but registration with the Hansraj College. That is in North Delhi campus. Then after completing my MSc, I qualified that CSIR and UGC NET examination, national eligibility test also. I was All India ranked 28th in that. And I was doing research work on that was totally a different aspect, the role of glycoconjugates in malignancy. Okay. So the role of I was doing I was working on 2-dimensional NMR. Right now, these things are quite advanced. I'm talking of 90s, 89, 90. But at that juncture, the jobs were very few. Even if you are postdoctorate or other thing, getting a jo- job was a difficult aspect in those days. Right
Right.
now, after Narasimha Rao government, when the market opened up with the Montek Singh Ahluwalia and erstwhile our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Madan Mohan Singh, job opportunities were quite less.
Right.
So while doing research, I was also appearing for the competitive examination. Uh, though I qualified for the civil services, but in interview I could not make it. And then this opportunity came for with the ONGC. So I passed out MSc in 1988, and in 1989 on 1st September I joined ONGC as a young graduate trainee at our Dehradun. Now it is known as ONGC Academy. In those days, it was called Institute of Management Development. After rigorous training of 6 months, that was both on-job training, field familiarization training, I was posted in Gandhar with the drilling operations. I was basically a drilling fluid engineer. So from there, I worked 7 years in Ankleshwar. I was associated with the, if you remember, in early 90s, we got uh, funds from Asian Development Bank to develop this Gandhar field. That is the biggest find after Bombay. That is the only biggest find way back in mid 80s. That was the biggest find. And Gandhar development, during the Gandhar development project, I was associated as a drilling field engineer. Then I was transferred to Assam. There I was associated in the processing of effluent treatment plant. So the effluent which is being generated during the production, it has to be disposed of either in the ground or into the river after giving proper treatment as per the state pollution control board norms or as per the your central control board. From there, somehow or the other, I have inclination towards environment. Then in 2000, I was transferred to Bombay, Mumbai. And here again, I was associated with the drilling activity. I used to work in the I used to go to the offshore drilling rigs. From 2000 to 2011, was the phase of Mumbai High redevelopment phase 1 and phase 2 to arrest the decline in production. Now we are in phase 6. Phase 5 is underway, and we are already talking phase 6. You might have heard lot of in the newspaper that ONGC has signed a production enhancement contract with the BP, their Indian subsidiary BP, for production enhancement, because the decline is there. We need to arrest decline. Whatever we have taken steps, whatever schemes we have implemented, we at right now we are unable to do it. So let's see how external help can help us. Then in 2011, I was transferred to corporate uh, planning section in New Delhi, and that changed the entire gamut how to look at the other side of the coin, because I was providing the secretariat services to the executive committee of ONGC. That is the topmost, that is, you can say, after board. In board, you have independent directors, government directors, and functional directors. Prior to putting any investment decision to the board or some major decision, these decisions are being taken at the executive committee level. So for full 10 years, I was associated in the providing secretariat job. So that was a, you can say, a turning point in my career wherein I have the opportunity to see how the investment decisions are being made, what are the problems. There only I came across this carbon management and sustainability group, because in 2007 this group was formed in ONGC, because in 2005 or 6, when government of India was bidding for some overseas blocks in Central Africa and this Latin America and Russian, then there was a requirement that you should have this department other than your HSC, that is Occupational Health, Safety and Environment, which will completely look into environmental aspects. Then in 2011, this when the Department of Public Enterprises came up with the Sustainability Development Guidelines, then this department, in which currently I am heading, was rechristened as Carbon Management and Sustainability Group, with the aim to increase its ambit. So during those days when I was right now I am at E9 level. I was at that time, I was just E5 or E6. In 2011, I was E5, and in 2006, I was at E. So all these projects proposal used to come on the GHG mitigation, your methane abatement, that GMI was, then only I came to know, yes, OGC has signed an MOU with the US EPA for this methane to market, which later has been rechristened as GMI, that is Global Methane Initiative, which is an action-oriented program wherein you undertake these surveys, and once leak detection surveys are conducted, and accordingly maintenance program is being undertaken to arrest those leakages. And then only I came to know of these CDM projects and all these CDM projects under UNFCCC, that was under Kyoto Protocol, and which India was signatory in 2005. And that under commitment period 1, we will do this much reduction in carbon emissions. Under commitment period 2, this was because 2015, this Paris Declaration has changed those things. So all these things came to used to fascinate me. Then in 2020, when COVID came, again we were not prepared. Then this digitization, prior to, unfortunately, in 2018, I have undertaken an exercise and I have digitized all the available records, right from 1983 till 2018 and onwards. Everything was digitized. And we started conducting meetings in a paperless mode. And I was also associated for the development of portal and the process wherein all these proposals can be uh, put up in a completely paperless mode. Then in 2020, March 26, right now, as we are having a virtual meeting, then because that was the time on 26th March when Honorable Prime Minister, it complete curfew was, whole country was locked down, and the country was looking to PMO, and our organization was looking to top management what to do. Then within 2 days, we created an infrastructure for conducting these virtual meetings, etc. And every morning, I can tell you, uh, for others, it was a lockdown, maybe a good time, but I used to get up at 6 o'clock and sleep at, my laptop used to be closed at in the middle of 12
Right.
midnight. And I used to send whatever the meetings twice meetings used to be conducted of top management. Whatever they used to discuss, I used to minutize them, circulate among all the directors. Then I used to send it to the um, for the corrections, whatever I have understood, whether it is I have correctly corrected or not, and then whatever the previous meeting actions we have sent within a week, I used to take what actions have been taken and used to send it to CMD. And CMD said, let me tell you, at that juncture, even in middle of the night, I used to send him in the morning 6 o'clock. I used to have his inputs.
Okay.
So
Right.
this is how we worked during those days. Then
Right.
I was again transferred to this Bombay in 2021 when Delta was wave was at peak. Then I was associated with the as a head drilling fluid services. I used to provide the all the fluid operation services for the offshore operation, be it Western offshore or Eastern offshore. There also some problems were there because of the corona. All the material was not available. We faced lot of issue. Then this land border uh, 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 notification came from government of India, which debarred that you cannot export things from that. So those were the tough times. Somehow or the other, we managed to sail across because that was the time when suddenly this in Middle East region drilling activity started picking up again, and getting of the requisite raw material was quite a challenging task. Somehow or the other, we managed to do it. Then we went for, instead of going for straight away procurement, we started hiring the services, etc. And now everything is in place. So things have started moving. But those are the some of the tough time. Then in August 23, I was given this charge of additional charge of carbon management as well as head drilling fluid services. So for three
Okay.
days I used to come in Bombay. 3 days I used to come to Delhi, and I man, I can proudly say that I successfully managed, because then that was the time I worked closely with EY, and then we formed up this net zero strategy for the ONGC, that decarbonization strategy, which is available publicly. I think we are the only PSU, or say Indian company, who has publicly made its strategy available in the public domain, how we are going to decarbonize our operational emissions. So this was basically that also changed the things. And I can proudly say that this year Climate Action 100 plus, that is a investor-led uh, initiative. They too have acknowledged at their site our decarbonization strategy. I don't think so any company has published such an exhaustive document in the public domain.
Right.
So after that, we during that COP28, we also in November 23 we also signed this OGDC. We were signatory to OGDC. Somehow or the other, it came stuck to me that once if because this optical gas imaging cameras we were having under US EPA, but there were some restriction. US sanctions were there. Procurement of these things was quite difficult. So we managed those things, but there were restrictions from US EPA that you have to procure only this flare. You cannot purchase from other manufacturer. So and that equipment did not work, because during 2010 it costed us 1.23 cr. That is a huge money.
Right.
So then I start because we have our own remote sensing division in KDMIP, Keshav Malviya Institute of Petroleum. I contacted their head of the department and asked them, can you help us in monitoring this methane or carbon dioxide emissions through some open sources? So then they came out, yes, we have the capability. This GoSat or this Tropima are the two satellites through which we can try. So initially we gave only for three, four sites, six sites to monitor for 6 months. The results started encouraging. Then we scaled it up. So
Right.
this is how my that
Long
initiative.
journey.
No,
Yeah.
this is then another part was there that our ESG performance was very bad.
Mhm.
As such, ONGC ESG ratings were taking a hit. So then I accepted this challenge also, and worked closely with KPMG and also with I have taken the help of Deloitte also, who were assigned that this assignment of preparation of our BRSR report and integrated report. And by generally these are one of the conflicting teams
Right.
because KPMG and Deloitte cannot come sit together. So I convinced them, I brought together them, we worked together as a team. And now I can proudly say that this year CDP from F, that is, we were not disclosing to them, we have attained B negative rating.
Right. A big leap.
It's
Yeah.
a big leap, but
Yeah.
uh, coming to a standard, achieving a height is easier. Maintaining that height is going to be a tough task because
Right. Right.
now, once you set up a standard,
Yeah.
you have achieved that bar. Now,
Mhm.
to either you have to climb it up or you have to maintain that ladder, uh,
Right.
maintain that position. It is going to be
A
difficult.
big challenge. Big
Uh,
challenge. I want to.
because
Yeah.
I will tell you, but this reminds me, if you remember, I think you must be aware, in mid 80s, pole vaulter was Sarji Bubka. And every time he used to go, he used to raise his bar 6 meters,
Right.
6.05, 6.25. So
Right.
that man goal has always become an inspiration for me that you set your bar for yourself and try to attain. Failures will be there. I do agree. Failures will be there, but if there you have a strong will, you will be able to achieve. This is what is the
Right.
only journey, and
And
probably now again I will be shifted to some other role. So maybe it's hardly I don't know it's when, but things as feelers are there. So again, some bigger assignment is waiting for me. So I will be doing. I will try to do justice whatever is there.
well, this is such a fascinating just to hear your journey from, drilling in in fields and in very remote areas all the way to corporate planning to then thinking about, honestly 21st century issues of climate and carbon management and methane. It's been such a fascinating journey to hear. I want to ask one kind of more big picture follow up question. I mean, you have seen a PSU, and of course, you're talking about ONGC, but I'm sure you know about your peers in other PSUs in India. How are they evolving? Like, how is a PSU evolving? I mean, I can imagine that a private sector can move very quickly on as because topics are moving fast. So it may be easier for them, but is it a big challenge for a PSU to keep up with the modern topics?
See, as far as PSUs are concerned, there is a myth, I would say. Rather, our board has got more autonomy in taking decision than any government is there to support us. I will say. You come up with the proposal with proper justification, government always backs up. And particularly, uh, I would say when Honorable Prime Minister in COP26, he has declared by 2070, we will be net zero. In 2070, he has told that we will be net zero. By 2030, our total energy demand will be met 50% will be through the renewables. So there is a big shift in the government also. So government is also pushing and trying to provide the necessary regulatory frameworks. They are seeking our inputs how to move ahead. See, recently I happened to have an interaction with Secretary MSME because our economy, MSME has a major role to play. Then, if you look at the SEBI recent guidelines, wherein they have said that BRSR code, that is, you have to do your value chain assessment. Value chain assessment
Right.
by, see, these pushes are pushing the PSUs or any corporate to incorporate the pain points of MSMEs
Right.
and other sectors and to take along them unless and until we educate, we provide hand holding to the MSMEs or other sectors, we cannot attain net zero.
Right. Right.
So I can tell you last June, we conducted a workshop on this, wherein we called our value chain partners. Of course, they were big value chain partners like Halliburton or Baker and Hughes, or for that matter, Simons and other Carlton, etc. They are the big players, or Sea Water, etc. They have already started, they have assessed their value chain partners, tier one, tier two, tier three, and they are taking steps. So in India also, this is what Secretary MSME was telling us, ki whatever you are doing, please share your knowledge and tell us what we should do for the MSME sectors, how to enhance their capabilities so they are ready for this. Particularly, the CBAM is now a reality.
Right.
It's a time, it's a matter of time.
Right.
Though India is taking a stand, they are trying, but the things may delay maybe for an year or two. Ultimately, to increase their employment, European Union has come up with CBAM. So if we want to be, want to export our products to them, maybe cement or steel, because Europe is a big importer of steel, and India has a major uh, roles to play. We need to look into. We have to start thinking in those terms, and
Right.
that's why ki government is coming soon. RBI has also come up with the draft notification on green bonds. SBI has also come up with how they are going to look the companies while investing in or while funding anything from the ESG lens. So this is going to these are some of the steps which government is also pushing. So as such, PSU has a major role to play in the energy transition on the climate issues by incorporating these things in their business strategy and providing hand holding to the MSCME or other sectors. Then things can really we can achieve Viksit Bharat by 2047, 47, which is the dream of our
Right.
Honorable Prime Minister.
Right. You touched upon a very important point, and you explained what the role of PSUs would be in the energy transition, almost like an ecosystem builder, with MSMEs and in other sectors. I just have one question, and I think oil companies have much more experience on this than, say, the power companies or coal mining companies, uh, which is to diversify your business. Could you touch upon, like, I mean, oil companies, let's say, for example, an oil company which started out as a, production company, now it's doing petrochemicals, now maybe getting into solar, wind. Could you explain, like, the imperatives of business diversification for a oil and gas sector?
See, I will tell you in 2011, uh, the then chairman, Mr. Sudhir Vasudeva, has formed up the Perspective Plan 2030. Correct. In that, he has already started thinking because I happen to be working in the corporate planning. So I can see from that lens how they were taking these things because at that juncture we were having brownfields and Rapsol is a Spanish company. I happened to convene that meeting with our executive committee along with our overseas arm. How they managed to uh, manage their mature field in Latin America. What business strategy they have. So similarly, during 2030, we dreamt of 100 gigawatts of renewable energy by
Wow.
2030.
Yeah.
It's a different story that we could not reach.
Right.
Then, but the vision was there. It is
Wow.
not that this vision is coming right in 2025. The vision was already there. You can check at the European Union side that we have even thought of setting up biorefineries using rice husk in collaboration with Masses Campoles. This MOU was signed way back in 2013.
So you're saying that the vision of diversification started pretty early.
This vision was very much there. That oil, besides oil and gas, because this climate action plan, etc., these all these things started in embedded in our business strategy way back, I would say, in 2010. So from 15 years, see, that could not be implemented because some reason or the other, that is a different scenario. But this thinking has already started coming in our boardrooms. So,
Right.
and as you are quite aware that India has taken a stand that we will not
Right.
phase out. Sorry, we will not phase out coal. We will phase down fossil fuels, and fossil fuels are going to remain till 2050. That is sure.
Right.
They are going to play a major role. Only thing that gas-based economy, there will be a thrust on the cleaner fuel on the gas-based economy. Right now, we are already had a share of say 5 to 6%. It will increase to 15 or 18% in our energy basket.
Right. So for a company point of view, like, you're looking at one or two sectors or a series of sectors for diversification.
See, in that 2030 document, we thought of building refining capacity also.
Mm-hmm.
I don't exactly remember the exact name, but that is the only thing we achieved
Mm.
as per 2030. And then there was a plan to tweak as per 5 year planning. Now, that 5 year planning commission has been renamed as Niti Ayog or whatsoever, but that sort of mechanism is there. So, accordingly, we have to tweak. our business strategy also as per the country's vision.
Right. Right.
So diversification in the petchem, in the green hydrogen, all or from the waste to energy, all these things were there, and the pilot scale, some technological demonstration we have already done. It's
Mhm.
other thing we also tried for going with the nuclear also. Uh, there is an accelerated growth plan which was farmed up. So all these things were started coming way back in 2011-12.
Mhm.
Now it is that government is also giving push. No, we should go. But at that juncture, see, rice husk was not a problem. It
Right.
was easily available. But then there was a problem. It is not available around the year. So these were some of the technical issues which crop up. Because of that, we could not set up biorefineries for the biodiesels, etc. But now we are going ahead.
Right. Okay, great. This is fantastic. Thank you for explaining that. Let's get into the meat of the topic which we have interacted in the past about, which is the role of methane mitigation in oil and gas facilities, and in the long term, as climate becomes even more stronger push. I know that ONGC, as you mentioned, like is part of various global frameworks, EPA partnerships, etc. Like in the long term, what role could methane mitigation play in India's climate policies?
See, as far as oil and gas sector is concerned, already technologically things are moving. I can tell you, we are already taking a very exhaustive, extensive study. My team has already in the field for undertaking a extensive ground surveys for a leak detection program.
Mhm.
Once those the findings of those results will come up, then a roadmap for leak detection program will be formed up. How much money we need to spend, what exactly, then a techno commercial case will be formed up. And accordingly, uh, that scaling up. But let me tell you, all these things, whatever I'm telling you, these are my personal view. Company strategy can be a different aspect. So th- methane is an important aspect because it is a low hanging fruit. The easiest thing to do is control your flare. You detect your methane, carry out maintenance program, and because if you detect and sell these molecules in the market, it's a lost opportunity. And the market, as of now, globally, as per IEA, it is 12 billion US dollar market, which is a lost revenue in the form of fugitive methane emissions alone. And the only way I would say is the thing is West should come up with a more collaborative approach. See, if I want to carry out this drone survey of Ayusa only for the two installations, the cost they have put up to me is 2,27,752 euros.
Right. That's a big number.
That is I would say 2.8 CR just for acquisition of data. And then it has to be reconciled with your satellite, with your drone data, then with the ground surveys. Ground survey I am already taking of my own. So there I am spending money. It's just peanuts, say 10 lakh INR.
Mhm.
But 2.8 CR for the drone survey. Then if I go for the GHG set, because I have also had a word with ISRO. ISRO also bang upon GHG.
Mhm.
And the GHG set data is not coming free. 0.3 million US dollar per site. Bi-weekly data on an annual basis. I have 165 sites. Now they are telling you we will come up with a different proposal. That is it. Those negotiations are still going on. But the thing is, considering the amount of it has a larger climate implication, West should handhold us, Southeast Asia or South Asia or the Central Asia countries, to undertake these studies at a cost now, which can help us to have a actual business case.
What would be the cost at which it would have a business case for this?
See, I have already spoken a lot on this in different forums. See, data acquisition cost is the one part, maintenance is an other. Then you have an other goal that you have to meet your country energy demand. And for undertaking maintenance activity, you have to close the wells.
Right.
The loss of production, nobody is going to take. Even government is not going to support us. If you are in the shoe of government, when your import bill is of 120 billion US dollar only for the your oil import, will you take? So, so this is the main challenge we have to think in. See, 48.3 million dollar we can spend. Then another say 100 million US dollar or 200 million US dollar on the maintenance program. That is not an issue. But the loss of production. So you have to look at the things in a holistic manner.
Right. So there is a initial challenge of, let me summarize and you can correct me if I'm wrong. There's an initial challenge of data acquisition, detection, etc. that you can manage. There is another challenge of maintenance. The maintenance itself you can manage, broadly manage, but the loss of shutting down for maintenance is the major impediment.
That is a major issue.
Yeah. Okay.
And we have to think, we have to come up with the solution.
Right. So, what would your ask be? Like, what the solution would be?
See, if you go globally, they will come up with aerolytics, this thing, that thing. We have done this thing, that thing. We are having a artificial intelligence, blah blah blah. All these things is possible with our facilities, and we have the capability. That is not an issue. The main problem is your production. So, so if you have enough energy available, maybe through diversification, then you can take a chance.
Right. And it's a good segue to bring it back to that diversification question. Because if PSUs in India diversify aggressively, make a bold plan, and then I think they will be able to contribute much more. Yeah.
See, I would say we are not a very good, our wind speeds are not conducive for wind energy. That is sure.
Yeah.
And you need for one megawatt. Right now, I don't have those numbers because and let me tell you that that data is available in our report. For 1 megawatt, how much land parcel you will require
For solar.
for solar? Correct. Then, if you look at the solar, even glasses, you have to prepare the sand you need to import. Then,
Right.
after its life cycle, how to dispose of the rare earth metals, how to do that. So these things are evolving. It will take time, but maybe after say 2030 or 2035, you may see that there is a strong leap, because by that time this battery storage etc will come, because you need RTC right
Right.
now. Right now, you do round the, unless and until you have a RTC, then only it makes a business sense for going for the renewable energy. Otherwise, there is no. So, battery storage technology is evolving, hydrogen, green hydrogen technology is evolving, and the technological breakthroughs will come only, destructive breakthrough can only come maybe by 2030 or 32. Then you will see a vast change in our energy landscape. Unless and until that technology does not come up, whether it
Mhm.
is a methane mitigation, flare reduction, or improving efficiency, because you have a different goal.
Right.
And no uh, g- uh, whosoever is there,
Yeah.
whether you, me, or our prime minister, we have to look the picture at a holistic angle. Which one is better for my energy needs?
Right.
Because we have a diverse population and has a larger responsibility to uplift the larger population.
Right.
So somewhere some balance has to be made.
For sure. Let me, we talked for almost a long time now. I have one sort of like last big picture question, which is like, if you were in a position to create a long term strategy, let's say by 2050, 2070, for Indian PSUs, or even forget about Indian PSUs, like for the oil sector, what would that look like in a net zero India? Like, how would you want to see an ONGC or other PSU?
See,
Yeah.
I have already given you this answer. When we farmed up our 2030, we dreamt of 100 gigawatt of
Right.
renewable. I'm not talking of anything else, renewable. And yet to find discoveries, and already we have. So now you are in 2011-12, we conceived this KGDWN 98 bar by 2 project. Today, it has started giving productions in 24-25. Now the oil has started coming from Bay of Bengal, from the Godavari basin. So from concept to execution, the minimum lead time is 10 to 15 years of a green projects. I'm not talking of the brownfield projects.
Right.
And at right now, we are dependent mostly on our western offshore.
Hmm.
And this infrastructure is quite critical for the national economy.
Hmm.
So government of India has a major role to uplift the economy and lifestyle of each common citizen.
Right.
So it may appear that PSUs are not doing enough to the outside world, but actually PSUs are doing much what you can think. Because I will again say, we thought of setting up biorefineries way back in 2012.
Right.
Now this is becoming a reality.
Right. So long term strategy, yeah, long term strategies has to play a role in for PSUs and in the energy transition.
Forget about PSU. I would say long-term strategy only vision 2050, vision 2070, which Honorable Prime Minister has given, that is going to play.
Right.
How to achieve that? That is a thing. If you are he has given a vision 2070, we should be net zero. So what are the steps needed? What is my projection economic growth? You can say, "Okay, sir, at this juncture, India is not, West can say, India is not doing enough. Yes, we are not doing enough, agreed. But we have constraints.
Right.
That
No, this
100
is
billion US dollar fund never has seen the light. Adaptation and mitigation fund.
right.
West has a responsibility. They have spoiled the climate, not us.
Right, right. No, this is great. Thank you so much. This has been a really 360-degree conversation from your life to the big picture questions about diversification to specifics about methane and ending back with the vision of net zero. So thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the India Energy Hour. Subscribe to this channel to never miss an update. To drop us a feedback, visit our website or write to us at theindiaenergyhour@gmail.com. We are on Twitter. You can follow at TIEH_podcast and get in touch with the two hosts at Shreya_J and at Sandeep Pai.